This is to go over density practice problems to get you used to using the formula and knowing how to solve for the different variables. Referencing our equation triangle. So our equation for density is mass divided by volume. You plug it into the density triangle, the formula triangle, and you have density, mass divided by volume. Depending on what the question is asking, depends on how you're going to use the triangle. If they ask for density, you cover up density, and it is your mass divided by your volume. If they solve for volume, then it's mass divided by density. If it's solving for mass, then it's density multiplied by the volume. So let's look at a couple of sample problems. I'm going to go through these. I'm going to go to the next page. It's going to give you the problem. Go ahead and pause the video and actually do the problem on your own. And then I will go ahead and hit play, and I will walk you through the problem and how to do it and check your answer. There will be a few of these that we will do. The density of a substance is 1.63 grams per milliliter. What is the mass of 0.25 liters of the substance in grams? So what you want to look at is gives you the density, and it gives you the volume. It says what is the mass? So the mass is what you're looking for. So notice I'm going to circle the variable that we are looking for. Reference the triangle. So the density we know equals 1.63 grams per milliliter. Volume is 0.25 liters. Now, the first thing I notice is that you have two different volume measurements here. So we need to convert liters into milliliters. This takes us back to review. King Henry died while drinking chocolate milk. So we need to convert liters, which is here, into milliliters. So we go 1, 2, 3 to the right. So we move our decimal point 1, 2, 3 to the right. So that is 250 milliliters. So then we plug our information in, and since we're solving for mass, it's density multiplied by volume. Our density is 1.63 grams per milliliter multiplied by 250 milliliters, which gives us the answer of 407.5. And our unit is grams because our milliliters cancel out, leaving us with our grams unit. Next problem. What is the density of a piece of wood that has a mass of 25 grams and a volume of 29.4 cubic centimeters? Pause and do the problem. Here we have our triangle. And we look at our problem. It says, what is the density? So we are looking for density of a piece of wood that has a mass. So it gives us a mass of 25 grams and the volume of 29.4 cubic centimeters. So we're looking for density, which is mass over volume. Our mass, 25 grams, over our volume, which is 29.4 cubic centimeters, which gives us the answer of 0.85 grams per cubic centimeter. Anytime you solve for density, you're using both the units that are given for mass and volume in your answer. Problem 3. A piece of wood that measures 3 centimeters by 6 centimeters by 4 centimeters has a mass of 80 grams. What is the density of the wood? Would the piece of wood float in water? Pause and do the problem. Start with your triangle and find out what it is that they're asking us to solve for. What is the density of the wood? So what information do they give us? It says the measurements are 3 by 6 by 4, and it has a mass of 80 grams. So density is mass divided by volume. What gives us a mass of 80 grams? Well, what is the volume? It doesn't give us volume, it gives us the measures of this piece of wood. So we need to find the volume by multiplying 3 centimeters by 6 centimeters by 4 centimeters, which gives us our volume of 72 cubic centimeters. And we get this 3 here because we have 1, 2, 3 centimeters that we multiplied together. So we have 80 grams divided by 72 cubic centimeters, which gives us the answer of 1.1 grams per cubic centimeter. Now the second part of the question, so that answers the first part of the question. Second part of the question is, would the piece of wood float in water? Well, this is something that I said that you will need to know, and you're going to see over and over again. We know that water's density is 1 gram per cubic centimeter. If our answer is 1.1, is it going to sink or float? Because it is greater than 1, it is going to sink. Not a whole lot because it's just slightly heavier, but it will not float. Fourth problem. A cup of gold-colored metal beads was measured to have a mass of 425 grams. By water displacement, the volume of the beads was calculated to be 48 cubic centimeters. Given the following densities, identify the metal. So we need to find the density from the information above to know if it's gold, copper, or bronze. So they give us a mass of 425 grams and a volume of 48 cubic centimeters. So density is mass divided by volume. Our mass, 425 grams, divided by your volume, 48 cubic centimeters. So that gives us an answer of 8.86 grams per cubic centimeter. But our answers, choices, have milliliters. Remember, cubic centimeter and milliliter are equivalent. So which one does it fit? And the answer is copper is what our beads are made out of. Next question. I threw a plastic ball in a pool for my dog to fetch. The mass of the ball was 125 grams. What must the volume be to have a density of 0.500 grams per milliliter? I want it to float, of course. Go ahead and pause the video and do the problem. Use your triangle. And this is I threw a plastic ball in my pool. The mass of the ball, so we have mass, it's 125 grams. What must the volume be to have a density? So they give you the density. So what we're looking for is volume. This is a new variable we haven't solved for yet. So we're looking for volume. So that means that we divide mass by density. So we plug in our information. and mass is 125 grams, and our density is 0.500 grams per milliliter, and we do the division, and we get 250 milliliters, because our grams cancel out and you're left with your milliliters, which is a volume unit. Be sure to make sure that you're labeling and crossing out so you get the right units for your answer. The volume of a solution was measured in a graduated cylinder. If the mass of the solution is to be 60.75 grams, what is the density of the solution? So, what is the density? So we're looking for density. So we're solving for D. So we need to know mass divided by volume. Well, it gives us the mass of 60.75 grams. But it doesn't give us volume in the actual problem, but it does in the picture. So if you look at the volume you need to read over here, the meniscus reads at 45 milliliters. So we use 45 milliliters as our volume from the graduated cylinder, and that will give us the answer of 1.35 grams per milliliter. An ice cube measuring 5.8 centimeters by 5.8 centimeters by 5.8 centimeters has a density of 0.917 grams per milliliter. What is the mass? So we're looking for mass. So we look at our triangle, and we are looking for M. So we need density multiplied by volume. Well, it gives us the density of 0.917, so 0.917 grams per milliliter multiplied by volume. Well, it doesn't give us volume, but it gives us our measurements. So volume is length times width times height, so we do 5.8 centimeters by 5.8 centimeters by 5.8 centimeters to give us our volume, which will equal 195. That's a bad 5.1 cubic centimeters. So then we just multiply our 0.917 by 195, and that gives you the answer of 178.9 grams. The density of aluminum is 2.7 grams per milliliter. If the mass of a piece of aluminum is 244 grams, what is the volume of the aluminum? Go ahead and pause and do your problem. Our equation, triangle. And it asks you, what is the volume? So volume is what we're solving for. And it gives you the density of aluminum, and it gives you the mass of the aluminum. So we are solving for volume, so it's mass divided by density. Our mass is 244 grams over our density, which is 2.70 grams per milliliter. Do the math, and our answer is 90.37 milliliters. There are a few more questions at the end, and I will go through those, show those to you. I am not going to do them. If you want to do them and then check them with me when you bring them into class, you may do that. Here's the next problem. The density of pure solid copper is 8.94 grams per milliliter. What volume does 5 kilograms of copper occupy? Pause and do your problem. Play to continue to do the next problem. What is the mass of a 450 cubic centimeter block of silicone if the density of silicone is 2.336 grams per cubic centimeter? Pause to do the problem. Play to continue to the next problem. What is the mass of 15 centimeter cube of iron if the density of iron is 7.87 grams per cubic centimeter? Pause to do the problem. Play to continue to the next problem. Two liquids, A and B, have densities of 0.75 grams per milliliter and 1.14 grams per milliliter respectively. When both liquids are poured into a container, one liquid floats on top of the other. Which liquid is on top? Pause to do the problem. Play to continue to the next problem. And that is it. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, please bring your questions to class and show me your answers to the extra problems and I will check them.